Hey guys, Grim here. Case file number 1, Germany. Yeah, we're in Germany. Didn't want to do it. This is called Alt file. Called ALP. ALP. Or plural ape or Alpin. This thing's a supernatural being in the German folklore, not confused with the similar name of Alpelotor. The Alp is sometimes linked to a vampire. It's kind of linked to a vampire. Now, I don't know if you guys know about this, but I don't like vampires. Why we got this case, I don't know. But we did. So, what happened is that me, Sarah, and Jim, we went to Germany. We got a phone call. Said we got a case for us. Well, we didn't know it was an Alpen. I'm going to call it Alpen. I don't know the real name for it. I already spelled it out for you. But this thing is sometimes like to a vampire, but its behavior is more akin to an incubus. It is a distinction from both of these creatures in that it wears a magic hat called a tarkeep, from which it draws its powers. The word Alp is the German form for the word that comes into English as elf. Both descend from the common Germanic. It is also known by the knowing names True, Mar, Mart, Mohar, Chat, and Rider. Many variations of the creature exist in the surrounding Europe areas, such as a Druid or the British Isles. The old hag, related to the commonly known recognized sleeping perilous in the period before the 100th century. Old High German. It's only at least it's only a small number of groceries and is defined ALTHOCHDUTSCHES. I don't speak German. As a natural god, nature demon, equated with the fauns of classic mythology, regarding it as eerie, frosty beings, as the mayor. He messes around with women, according to the German word Alpedruk, literally elf opposite oppression, meaning nightmare. There is also evidence associating elves with illnesses, epilepsy, and similar veins. Elves are Middle High Germans, also often associated with the deceptions, bewildering people in the phase of currents so often in the world. In what appear to be proverb, die, emblem, der Alp, target mute. The elf is deceiving me. There's a lot more to this, and I'm not going to go into grave detail. I got a story I got to tell. But it continues. It's just all about the elves. So, oh yeah, they also got shape-shifting abilities. They can turn a cat, a dog, a pig, and snake, or a white butterfly. Also been known it can fly like a bird and ride like a horse. So, yeah. We were going after basically an elf or succubus. Well, I'm going to call it an elf because that's what it basically is. Why are we doing this? It's the exact same thing I asked Jim. The exact same thing I asked him. He said he had a friend over there in Germany. Well, not a friend. He got a call from a guy over there in Germany that said he wanted our help. So, I said, okay, you got this. We got this. Let's go. Let's go see what he wants. So we go over there, and we get a couple more phone calls, but I'll talk about those later. This is case file number 1. Thank you very much. You're welcome. So, as we cruise down there on the plane, as we cruise down there, cruise over there, we know what's going on. We're doing our best to stay away from that area, and I won't say it, that we both know we all know what I'm talking about. And it's kind of rough because I'm pretty sure we were going to have a lot more people to talk to down there about a lot more stuff. So we weren't going to leave Germany anytime soon. As we got to Germany, we looked around and we tried to find this friend, and then we get a phone call, and Jim said his friend had an emergency, he had to go, but they had to go to his house. So I'm not sure how we're going to get there. We could take public transit, or well, Jim could just rent a car. So we got there. Beautiful place. Some places, some areas. It's really nice. I'm not going to go into detail of where he's at because I digress. I don't remember half the squat places we squat at, what hotels we go to. I don't even remember the name of the towns or houses that we stay at. I don't. I got a bad memory. That's why I pre-record things. So what happened is that we get there, and he's been constantly telling us that there's been mischief going around in his house. He thinks there might be a ghost around his house or something like that, because things have been misplaced, things have been disappearing, mischievous little things, you know. His wife's been feeling pretty ill here lately. She's said her life has been being sucked out of her at night. So we go around, do the EVP sessions, and we put up cameras in the house where, he said stuff's been going on. Pardon me if I'm yawning. I'm pretty sleepy. Long trip to our hotel. I won't tell you where we're going next either, so get with it. So what happened is that we set this camera up. The EVP sessions, we get nothing. Maybe a whisper, but that's it. So we got the camera on in Jim's friend's room. I think his name was Eric, and his wife was Lisa. Was it Lisa or yeah, it was Lisa. His daughter was Erica. So we get there, we do this thing. Like I said, we got these cameras up. We do this. We get everything up. We do what we do. Nothing except for Friday, Friday around midnight. But no, it's 12:30. 12:33 to be precise. At night. Wasn't in the morning, but you know what I'm saying. We get there. Get there on the camera. Start looking at this camera, and something starts to glow in his room. and something slowly starts to come into focus. I didn't want to attract any attention other than to Jim and Sarah, and not go over there. And Sarah, Jim creates a clip of this creature, and we cut it. Then we use, and in the morning we go to bed. In the morning, Eric's wife was feeling god awful, god awful. She's just sick. She feels like something, like she said, something's draining the life out of her. Just as that happens, something comes flying off the refrigerator, hits the floor, just smashes on the floor. Wasn't nothing important, and there wasn't nobody in the way of it, but still, it was disturbing. Jim went to go look for his keys. His keys were missing. They weren't in the place he had them. He searched around behind the refrigerator. It was weird. So with the photo that we took last night, Sarah starts asking some people in town to see if they know what it is. She gets a lead and heads off to person to a bookstore somewhere there in town. This lady said to know about something like this, mythology or something like this. She was told it was something. So she goes checks that out. Me and Jim start trying to find out how to stop things from going missing. Jim looks up online and see if he can find anything about this thing while Sarah's out, see if there's any folklore of this creature or whatever. The pictures. Me, I go and look in Eric's and his wife's bedroom, see if I can find something out of the ordinary. Because like I said, this thing appeared right next to the camera. So I wanted to look behind the camera, search the area, and found something that looked kind of like footprints on the area right next to the camera. It's like a bookshelf or a dresser. It was a dresser, yeah. I was looking at it, and it looked like kind of like footprints with some powder on it. It wasn't dust. This place was almost spotless. She kept a clean house. That's why her husband's so worried about her. Well, it was a couple of hours later. Jim found something on what this thing could be just by scanning image, just by the image itself. And it turned out to be an elf, a German elf, an Alpen, or an Alpine, whatever. Sarah came back and said, yeah, that was definitely what Jim found was definitely right. But she found a little bit more about it. These things kind of like vampires, like I said earlier. All this information was the result from Sarah and Jim's research. And it was said that Sarah and Jim said found the same thing, that the only way to take this thing's power is to take off the hat. So there had to be a way to take off that thing's hat. Now, as for killing these things, I don't know. I guess you kill them like anything. I don't know, to be honest. We weren't going to kill this thing. We wanted to capture this thing and get it out of the house. So we set up a little trap that night. Eric's wife got in bed. We, it's a snare trap of sorts. More like a weight. See, I'm guessing that's where that thing lands every night, right there. on that area, that little area where its footprints were, because there's like the dust was really thick in that area. We don't know what this thing was capable of. It's an elf, and its only way to remove it is to get rid of that hat. So we had to devise a plan. So we set up a little snare trap, like I said. It wasn't too complicated. As soon as it landed, we caught it on film. About midnight, the trap sprung. We went in there, we caught it. How did we catch it? Well, the snare trap was not for the elf. We're pretty sure that thing could have gotten out of anything. We did. So what it was is that we hung a little rope big enough to, well, a string big enough to wrap around the hat. How was it triggered? Well, that we put a little weight there with a little lip knot. The thing would have to move it if it wanted to get to Eric's wife. It shoved it off. A little snare trap wrapped around its foot. As the weight went off, it hit the floor, and the hat was already snared. Was already snared on the elf's head from the elf's the little rope. Little noose dropped around the elf's hat as he pushed the weight. The weight took him with it. The hat was stationary. That thing wasn't going anywhere. So we put it in a glass jar and tossed the hat and kept the hat. I think Sarah kept the hat somewhere. And once we were done with that, put it this way, we let the little creature go in some deep forest. Yeah, that was a mistake. Thank you guys for listening to this one. The next one's going to be a little bit more interesting. So stay tuned. Good luck, good night, and God bless.